Hello everyone, this is Natnarf Signing Off back in, and welcome back to True Remembrance. Well, now we're going back into where we were left. Girl, go back to the room. I smiled in my sleep, and this morning there's a crash in the somewhere. The next morning, I was startled awake by an awful crashing sound. I bet that's the dishes. Interesting. I've never been woken up this way before. I allowed myself a deep sigh, and then I got off the sofa. Loud back was turned to me when I found her, so I said, "Good morning." An early riser, I see. And almost succeeded at suppressing a grin when she jumped in the surprise. "Good morning. Let me guess, you tried to cook in the kitchen." But then I looked down, and the sight completely succeeded at wiping the smirk off my face. There was a familiar-looking kettle on the floor, and a spreading dark puddle that had to be the remnants of yesterday's stew. Aww. How did it come to this? Stew for breakfast, kettle boiled over. Went to take it off, stuff burned, and you tried to cook! Okay, so that explains a couple of things. The particular smell for one thing, burned soup, and the uncharacteristic warmth of the house for another. I looked over at the stove, and sure enough, it was lit and burning bright. Then I had the following sequence of thoughts. 1. Man, this is weird. 2. I certainly didn't build that fire. 3. So she must have. 4. Man, this is weird. Everything's weird. Not bad at all, actually. Ever since I became I can never pronounce that thing properly, so don't make me. I'd always live alone. There's the stray kitten who would invite herself into my life for a while, but obviously cats can't live stoves or fill fire. There's a history. Ow. And of course she didn't stick around forever. One day I woke up and she was gone. You didn't get scolded or anything? I see. That's a relief. I'm not mad at you or anything, so don't need to apologize. I'm so sorry. I just said you don't need to apologize! Wait, didn't I just tell her not to apologize? Exactly! After that, I started cleaning up the mess, but La wasn't having any of that. Okay, fine, whatever. So I figured we'd do it together, but she wouldn't have any of that either. And in the end, she stubbornly insisted on cleaning the mess all by herself. After the kitchen was all spick and span, we broke fast with some pastries. When did you have bread? Let's head out once we're finished eating. Any particular place you want to go? This was how the job worked. As her guide, I would show her around the town. And as she grew more and more comfortable with life here, the more opportunities I would have as her to erase the memories that had so corroded her psyche. But the thing was, I really didn't like doing any of this. Not that it mattered. Hell, it was my job. I didn't have any choice in the matter. Oh, it wasn't as if it wasn't as if I was bad at it. Quite the contrary, I was quite efficient both as a guide and as a I had 2 years of rigorous training in both to thank for that. That was mandatory for licensure, and I'd pass with flying colors. With wings! Really, the only reason I hated this part of the job was because I simply hated walking outside. I mean, what's the point? Up to you. You are my guide, yes? Great. She looked up from her glass of milk to briefly fit her eyes at me. I thought that she would say something like that, but still that bothered the hell out of me. Because where the hell was I gonna bring her? Now I really wanted to let out a sigh. Alright, let's go. Just to take your coat with you. It's cold out, you know. La nodded and then undraped her garment issue topcoat from her chair. We walked out the door and into the frozen town. She trailed me by a few paces. Aww. The streets were deserted in defiance of the day stars wan advanced. The shadows beat long tattoos on the snow-choked eaves. Forgot to breathe then. There were a little under 1,000 licensed here, and each one of us had a guest. Then there were governmental personnel. Oh, and yes, and the people who had special permission to set up businesses in town. Too few people, too many ghosts. That was the problem with this place. This is not even a town. This is a rehabilitation center. The dollar was a pandemic. The wait list for the monocidal protocol ran into the hundreds of pages. There just weren't enough of us to go around. Right. I was gazing about at the storefronts and houses. What was it that she saw? All I could see was an awkward cloth of brick and ice and ruin congealing out of sluggish apps. Ah, my nose! God, this. As I continued to walk along, she stopped to look at something, then stopped to stare at something else entirely, then started again, and so on. Naturally, quite a gap arose between us. I thought for a second about waiting and matching with her, pace with her, but it was far more fun to just watch her antics, so I left her be. Black Iris, where are we going? My nose is so itchy. It's literally so itchy, I don't know. Oh my nose. Maybe it was the chicken. If anything, all the allergies are getting to my nose. She asked as she caught up to me. Her feet thudding on the icy sidewalk and her breath panting short-lived clouds on the air about us. Let's see. How about some nice, delicious coffee? There's this place I know on 6th Street, so let's take the trolley here. From here. What? You heard me right. Don't tell me you've never ridden one before. I haven't. That struck me as more than a little odd. Maybe she's not from this country. Other than on foot, there was no other real method of transportation around here. And our trolley system was good anyway that no one really minded. The other cities of our country had public transit systems that were at least as well developed as ours. That's how normal people got around. But La here had been chauffeured around for all her life. Apparently, her family must have been rich or very important or both. As I stopped to think about this, La took the opportunity to sprint past me towards the station. So she could be this lively at times, eh? Fascinating. However, since her small figure was already receding into the horizon, I was going to have to cut my reverie short. A smile came to my lips unbidden, and I began to walk again. My nose is so itchy, I can't. Hiya! We got off the trolley at the 6th Street station and headed toward our destination. Goodness sakes, wait, oh, my nose, it's so itchy. Oh god, I need that cream. Good, it's right beside me too. La continued, of course, to make her frequent investigatory stops, but in this case it was entirely understandable. Our house was on the 8th Street. Our house. As if we both were a married couple. That end of town was mainly private residences. Yeah. But 6th, well, it was the closest thing we had to a shopping mall around these parts. And I seems intent on examining every piece of merchandise in every single display window we encountered. Our destination, by the way, was not on the 6th proper, but on a back street a block away or so. Okay. The door was unadorned, but for a nameplate that simply read Aroma. Ooh, Aroma. Just a simple, nice letter. Oh, yes, you. I forgot about you. See that? That weird, snazzy outfit. I don't understand you. No! As we opened the door and walked in, a chime rang out and soon thereafter, so did a casual voice. Welcome! Hey, wait a second. Why, even is it Black Iris? Long time no see, man. Hey, yeah. Cut out the chase. The girl wants some grub, okay? I raised a hand in casual response. This proprietor here was one of a few acquaintances I had, you see. Been out of town or something? I haven't seen you around this parts in forever, you know? No, I've been here the whole time. What did you do? Barricade yourself in your apartment? That's not good, yo. Oh, I got it. Don't tell me. You... My acquaintance's flood of silence... God damn it. My acquaintance's flood of sarcasm suddenly went dry when he spotted the girl who was standing behind me. Actually, it was more like La was hiding behind the folds of my great coat and scooping out the cafe's interior. Got a girlfriend? No! Let's see that. No, that ain't my girlfriend. Oh man. He at least had the good grace to manage to stay a strange smile. La, on the other hand, reacted with no grace at all. She panicked. She startled, flushed red as beat, and began to shake her head violently. Great. Fascinating. I let her go for a bit longer until I became distinctly afraid that she might very well shake her head clear over her shoulder. This is my guest. I see. Right. No way a cute little thing like this would shack up with the Nordpole like you, right? What was I thinking, man? That was mean! You don't know. These two will be together. You don't know that. This is insulting. But it all happened to be true, so I couldn't really say anything. I had lost it at the counter and then took a seat next to her. Welcome. The name's Rook, and the honor's all mine. Sorry for insulting you earlier. Don't you be forgetting me now, okay, little lady? My name is Rook. I'm not a crook. He even managed a sly wink at La with that last sentence. Great. Real smooth, man. Real smooth. Too smooth for me to want to imitate, as a matter of fact, if you know what I mean. La must have been as dumbstruck as I was, so she took a very long time to answer. Great. She still has the mouth open too. La. Charmed, I think. She then bowed politely, too politely almost. A look of surprise flashed across Rook's face. Then he burst out laughing. Oh man, we have got a bona fide cutie here. Hey, little La, how old are ya? Don't you go dating her already? Rook asked as he leaned over the counter and grinned. I sighed inwardly. See, this was just like him. He was like a dog with a bone whenever he's something interested in. My polar opposite, in other words. Great. I'm afraid of you. La, of course, was squirming uncomfortably in her seat by now. Obviously, the attention was unwanted. I sighed outwardly this time and turned to face Rook. If you know what's good for you, you will stop harassing my guests. Start harassing my guests. I'm not harassing her at all, man. I'm just really interested in her. That's all. What's wrong with getting to know her a little bit, nice and personal, huh? Fine, having your way. Oh, look at that. You can't say that. It looks like Gary from Pokemon. Just stop crying at me like that, man. Rook shrugged vaguely, as if to say you're damn scary when you glare. No, it's you're damn sexy when you glare. Shouldn't mean that. La, meanwhile, was sighing with relief now that her interrogation was over. Wait, not that. Did you come for lunch? It's a bit early for that, but hey, whatever. So, what'll it be? Up to you? Up to you. Hey, La, anything you want in particular to eat? No idea. That came as no surprise. There were no menus here at Cafe Aroma. Rook just always made whatever he felt like anyway, whether it was what the customer had ordered or not. So I guess it is my mistake to even ask the question in the first place. Dude, just what kind of guide are you anyhow? Rook asked in surprise. Well, shush! You want my job, get it! Yeah, someone like him who smothered his guests with all manner of unwanted attention would find me odd. Hey Lila, wanna be my guest from now on? I swear you'll have lots of fun. Oops. Warning tab. Sorry, no. Rook smiled weirdly as if to say, "Aw, that's too bad," and got busy behind the counter. Much to my surprise, Lai smiled back, so obviously she was starting to warm up to him. A female guest, though. Just what was Dexter thinking anyway? Rook wondered aloud as he began washing some vegetables. Exactly. This Dexter, by the way, was the supervisor to whom several, including Rook and me, reported. Every single one of my assignments came from Dexter himself. Where's Dee Dee then? La, for instance. But isn't it official policy not to allow male-female pairings? I don't know, I don't make the things. Man, if that changed, when am I gonna be up front for it? Most likely never, you perv. You with a girl, we'd fear for her life. You're probably right. After all, if I got to live with a cutie like Lil I here, there's no telling what might happen. That reminds me, hey little lady, a black Irish here do something you shouldn't, you come running to me, you hear? Out of the frying pan and into the fire indeed. Great. By this time, Rook was slicing up some fillets of fish without having to even look down at what he's doing. This man can cook! He's Chef Boy Logra! Now, I wasn't so bad at cooking myself, but this guy was really a pro. He didn't need to look to see how many fingers he cut off already. And like most other top flight... all the cherries in my mouth. Top flight chefs, he was a real eccentric. Case in point, he'd rather give up his millionaire status than his cafe here. Although he didn't have enough customers for this place to be viable, he'd probably be wildly successful if he ever opened a restaurant somewhere other than this godforsaken town. But he couldn't do that, and he had no inclination to either. Here you go. What the? He put gargantuan fish and vegetable burgers grilled to perfection before each of us. La looked almost as big as her head, but she bravely grabbed it with two hands and started digging in nonetheless. And she dug in with total gusto. The look of delight on her face was just fascinating. But she'd get mad if I stared at her for any longer, so I turned my attention to my own food. Rook watched us eat for a bit. And once he was satisfied that we were satisfied, began grinding some coffee beans. Coffee! By hand, I'd never seen him do it in any other way. Soon, the aroma of fresh ground coffee filled the air. It's so wonderful, in fact, that it made La look up. Blah, blah, blah. So wonderful, in fact, that it made La look up from her burger. Coffee? Wait a second. The way she said that, it was as if this was the first time she'd ever even encountered the stuff. Okay, the trolley thing I could explain anyway, but this? Curiouser and curiouser. Nah, not coffee at all. This little lady is what we call espresso. Although Black Iris, well, he can't get enough through his skull. I tried, I tell ya. Is that different from coffee? Totally! The way the beans roasted, how they're pressed, how much caffeine there is, how it tastes, all different. But a barbarian like Iris here would never understand that. Stop calling me a barbarian! Rook pulled the lever on the expression machine as he grumbled. Then after I calculated pause, he pulled the lever again. No grumbles this time around. Oh, it's already done. 2 demites, each filled with this wonderful smelling dark liquid materialized liquid before us soon after. My nose I can't concentrate. My nose so itchy. Good gracious. Here you go. Sweet for the sweets, la. The cafe's mocha got your name on it. The usual cafe correcto for you, Black Iris. Impeccable timing as usual, since we both just finished our burgers. I usually have my drink with my food together. La picked up her dimitici gingerly. I don't know how to call that. as if it were the most delicate thing in the world, and breathed in the rising vapors. Smells good. Of course! This is my specialty, you see? Now, Rook was always this way with the ladies, but today he seemed even more effervescent than usual. Effervescent. Oh, hello, Barbie. This Barbie. I don't know. Why you broke the Barbie doll? Then again, La wasn't brushing him off the way most women did, so that maybe was it. Oh, right. Blackberries! Got an assignment, and not from Dexter. Constellation recursion for our high level. Lucky you, you've been trapped. You've been tapped. Tap. Wait! I'm currently with a guest. It's not safe or legal to double up like that. Come to think of it, yeah. I wonder how come Dexter didn't tell me you were with guests anyway. Usually he's really good about that. Probably just a communications breakdown. But relay my regrets for me, will you? Regrets? Brooke froze and shot me this half sheepish, half evil look. Well, great. He and I had been colleagues for long enough that I knew what this meant. He'd screwed me over. No choice, man. I had to agree. What should I say? This new client is well connected. Ah, you moron! And my nose too. While Rook himself was competent enough, his true talent in that area was as a fence. He ran a black market brokerage that matched with prospective guests outside of official channels. It was all strictly hush-hush. None of us had to say a thing about it to Dexter, and he hadn't asked. Our clients were diverse, but they all had one thing in common. They were rich and powerful. I had no idea where Rook found the time to own and operate this fine and unprofitable restaurant, given everything else he had. I suppose that he made him something of a workaholic. Great. This case will be a cinch, I tell ya. You'll be done in 24 hours, I guarantee it. No idea why they insisted on a class alpha monosal, really. Great. It was a rare pleasure to see him grovel and begging, I guess. Great! Great! Except it wasn't that rare. It was no pleasure at all this time around. I didn't care about this being a technical violation of the law, so as long as the pay was good. And it was, but right now La was my guest. Oh, hello, Lola. Hello, I'm back again. The other night, my mom came home, so it means no time for recording. And I admit it would be an awkward situation if she had to watch me record all the way while eating in the side of the table just behind me. So, yes. So, well, it's not apparently yesterday, it's apparently 2 days later, or something. No. Yeah, 2 days later. So now it's August 24th, Monday, 1:25 p.m. Hong Kong time in the afternoon. Now we will continue off from where we left off. Load you. Yes, I would like to load it, please. And sorry if my voice is like this, because I'm trying to calm my throat down from all the lemon tea I've gotten. Okay. I didn't care about this being a technical violation of the law, so long as the pay was good. It was, but right now La was my guest. She had priority. That was something I couldn't violate. So I was gonna have to say no. Great. But then, as if she could read my mind, La casually said, "Don't mind. Your call." Wow. But no worries. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Huh? Asian stock markets get crushed at losses. Nope, I don't want any more news. Genio. It always brings me bad things in my head. No worries, as you were. Her speech was as curt and to the point as usual, but there was something awfully ill at ease about the way she said. What do you mean? What did she dislike being pampered like the way the rules What did she dislike being pampered the way the rules dictated guests must be? If that was so, she really was an odd one. You don't know that. You don't know all the planning yet. Most guests who came here were so starved for attention at first that they grew addicted to our care. Wait, if La really disliked being waited on hand and foot, was that why she was assigned to a side who wasn't particularly good to his guests? Oh, great. You just insulted yourself. That brought up all sorts of possibilities that I didn't want to think about. Alright, fine. But you owe me one. Oh, don't bother calling me at my apartment. I'm not there. I'm currently at the house on top of the hill on 8th Street, so send your client there. I'll make it up to you somehow. Give me a whole month's worth of free meals then. Plus the coffee. See? Isn't that kinda out in the boonies? Nice and peaceful, actually. No noisy idiots like you. So much so that I've have to a mind to move there permanently. Wow! Get off it, man! You're not old enough to retire yet. He's not retired, he just wants quiet and peace from you. Anyway, thanks a bunch for this. You owe me. I'll have the client at your location by the day after tomorrow. Is it another girl? Is it another man? Is it a boy? Baby? Well, he can't take care of a baby. Roger that. The three of us killed some time together after that. La and I would have stayed longer, but it became obvious that the clouds were preparing to burst with snow, so we left in a hurry. Great. Luckily, we found our way back to our place on 8th Street before the first flakes began pouring from the sky. I'd actually like to know what snow feels like. Because in Hong Kong it doesn't snow. It never does. It never will. It'll never ever. Another day has passed. One thing had become painfully apparent by now. La was oblivious to the ways of the world. It was tempting to chalk it up to her being a stuck-up, spoiled little princess. But she wasn't stuck up. She wasn't spoiled, and she didn't put on airs like a princess. You know, there's something going on with that. Generally, the guide is supposed to take care of all the housework. La, however, was actively helping out in any way she could. Well, that's called therapeutic. She couldn't keep her hands to herself if she tried. And she wasn't trying anyhow. Great. The weird thing was, it wasn't because she felt sorry about making me do all the work. The way her eyes glistened, the way she skipped and hopped about, it was obvious that she was having the time of her life. Well, that's good therapy. Let her do it then. There were some ways in which this came as a relief. I had not, for instance, been looking forward to the prospect of doing a girl's laundry. Great! So obviously I was more than happy to let La take care of it. Naughty. Woo, that's a nice picture. Wait. High tech. Oh my god, that's beautiful. Whoever you are, artist, I love it. Well, that is, other than the fact that she had no idea how to operate a washing machine. I can remember clearly how she stared at it the first time around, tried to figure it out for herself. After a long time indeed, she came running to me, defeated. Right, girls and technology don't mix, which is not true. It's just because she's just got a memory thingy. When I told her which buttons to press, her eyes lit up, and off she went. Great, you're a robot. Trial, error, trial again, success. Such were the patterns of that day. Great. At least you don't have to hand wash it. In Tagalog, we call it laba. You hand wash it by hands, literally. You do it like in the bubble. You press couscous. What do you call it? Wash it against your, how do you call that? The base of your hands. Something like that. Rub them together with the clothes until you can feel that there's no more. Until you can see the dirt is really dirty or something like that. Or until you think it's enough scrubbing and squeezing. Then you have to go rinse it out, like 2 or 3 times more to make sure that no bubbles or detergent was left inside the clothes. And then you have to soak it in softener with a pile of water, and as long as you think it's needed. And then you have to rinse it out really good too, or else the softener is going to stay there for about 2 or 3 more times. Then that's when you finally hang it up. I was never good at it either. Now it was around time for this other guest to arrive. I hadn't been able to take La out anywhere yesterday, just in case Rook might need to get a hold of me. I'd probably be stuck here today too. After all, if I really only had one day with this guest, finding and obliterating his psychic corrosion was going to be priority number 1. Well, ain't this something else? This is going to be something else. My screen is going crazy. Sorry, if it doesn't look weird to you. It looks weird on my screen now. Some of the words are faded. Ah! Darn it. Stupid. Yeah, squeaky. What'd you squeaky at the sofa? I'm just asking. Now, I'd expect that La would be bored out of her mind, but she never had a word of displeasure for me. What's that supposed to mean? In fact, she seemed to be enjoying herself, your Gracie, judging from the spring in her step and the twinkle in her eye. Every so often, though, she would come to me with loneliness and loss written all over her face, and would stay by my side in silence for hours. Why are you, a doll? Excuse me. Oh God, if it weren't for these times, it would have been almost impossible to believe that she was afflicted with the dollar at all. I heard someone knocking on the door, and as I was cleaning up after breakfast, immediately abandoned my dishwashing and rushed to answer. But by the time I rounded the corner to the foyer, he'd already started knocking again. What? What? You weird suit. Okay. No, I don't want that. When I opened the door, I was surprised to be greeted by a face that was much lower to the ground than I had expected. Well, don't expect to talk to Mouse then. I was referred. I had an appointment with Doctor. I know Doctor! Dr. Black Iris. He's here. You're looking at him. He happens to be me. What? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. It's just that you're a lot younger than I thought you'd be. Great! Everyone expects me to be 40 plus. A lot younger, eh? That was my line. Rook, man, you're killing me here. You didn't tell me you were starting a babysitting service. Great! I mean, he was a lot younger than La. I mean, a lot. When Rook had told me that this client was well connected, I assumed that he was talking about a government official or a captain of industry. Not this. My name is Marcelo. Nice to meet you, sir. The pleasure is mine. Please come on in, then, Marcelo. You may call me Mar if you please. Mar! If you please, huh? Well, just, and with a haughty manner of a speech to boot, say I was definitely dealing with a rich kid then. Haughty heart. Great. What am I doing? Even she was confused. But he looks taller than her. How is this bit different? When Mar stepped into the living room, La almost dropped the plate she'd been washing and stared. Not surprising. She'd probably been expecting someone a lot older and taller. Exactly. After an uncomfortable moment, she whipped back to her dishes, squeezing her sponge so hard that suds floated out onto the sink. Her surprise, however, was dwarfed by that of their new arrival. Sorry! my gosh, Marmar! Marmar! He suddenly and inexplicably bowed his head in apology. Now I had no clue what to do anymore. Great! Oh man, that's so cute! Oh man. Now I don't know what to do either. And seeing as he was flushing beet red, I didn't want to know what was going on his head right now either. I sighed and hastened to explain the situation, but Mar, this is law. I'm so sorry. I had no idea our lady friend was here. Give me a moment. I'll leave right away. What the heck is everyone thinking? Lady friend is not lady girlfriend. She's friend. She's like you. Ah, you dropped the dishes again. Come on. Why is everyone so surprised? Oh, goodness sakes. Mar didn't even let me finish my sentence. At the very moment that he finished his sentence, the last fingers closed to go completely nerveless. And fortunate thing was she kind of had the plate in them at the same time. Great! There was a crash and much tinkling. White porcelain shards spread all over the kitchen floor, and now we not just had one but two young people blushing so furiously that they might as well be on the surface of the sun. Great! I just wanted to bury my head in my hands and be done with the day. It's called Mary Poppins! La happens to be my guest! Just like you. Huh? Oh, I see ya. Right. I had no idea. Well, hopefully you have one now. Marmar sank down in the chair and as if his last words had drained all of the strength out of him. You're so weak! Oh, La, be careful not to get cut there. Want some help? No, thanks. No, thanks! How did you know what I was singing? The daughter is singing like Under the Sea inside her. No, thanks. I'll be fine. That didn't really make me worry any less about her. And now that she said she'd be fine, there wasn't much I can do. So instead, I turned to Marmar and began anew. As you already know, I am Black Iris, I will be your guide for a short time. Should you wish to call me by any other name, go ahead and do so. I won't mind. Then he'll call you Jackass. Is that okay? Thank you, sir. Glad to be in capable hands. We'll see about that. Now, won't you tell me a little bit about your psyche corrosion? How did it start? Do you remember? Up until this point in their treatment, what I'd said to La and Mar had not differed substantially. But La was a severe case, necessitating a long internment here. In her case, my only course of action was to chip away at her psyche corrosion slowly over weeks and months. I had no choice. How could I, when my guest was clearly numb to the depths of her own sorrow? In comparison, Mar's dolor was only mild. Guests in his situation usually knew exactly where their psychic corrosion was coming from and could point me toward the sort of the I can't speak and could point me toward the source with relative case. Goodness sake. Then I could move in with surgical precision and cut the memories out cleanly, quick and simple. What is this? A surgery operation? What is this? What? 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 Which one? I can't remove the shoe. What did you do to the head? Oh God. Mar shot me a confused look and then spoke hesitantly. Psychic corrosion? No, actually, What? You weirdo! Actually, I just want you to erase every last memory I have. You're joking, right? You gotta be joking. Because if he was, that was pretty funny. But the way he was looking at me, it was quite obvious that this was no joke at all. I raved rather than saw La poking her head out of the kitchen. But you're here, not in the kitchen! Obviously, she'd overheard everything. Obviously, she was quite intrigued by this turn of events. It wasn't entirely obvious whether or not she finished cleaning up the broken porcelain. So, you want me to erase, 10 or 11 years of memory all at once? Is that it? 15! Then you will know how to talk, alright? Walk! My apologies then. I'm afraid that's impossible? Even for you, Dr. Black Iris? The Class A Alpha Malala? I'd heard that alphas were incredibly powerful. Are you trying to tell me that even you have your limits? Pardon my asking, but are you even an alpha at all? Can you stop insulting me? I was really fixated on this alpha thing, wasn't he? Or was he trying to provoke me? Trying to provoke me into action by slandering my abilities as a manasala? If he was making a big mistake. I had no such pride in my profession. But then again, I don't ever recall having I do not recall ever having used the word impossible. I answer honestly. But this did not seem to make Mar particularly happy. I could hear him muttering, "So you can do it," with an almost dispirited air. I searched his face for a long time, indeed, before I said anything more. Yes, I can, but some preparations are necessary. I think I'll be ready by nightfall. Can you wait that long? Of course. I will wait. Alright. Then feel free to do whatever you like until then. If there's anything you need, just holler. I'll be around. Hayuru! Yes, sir. I left Mar where he was and headed into the kitchen. And to clean up the porcelain pieces. La looked a little concerned. Total erasure? Impossible, right? Who knows? I've never tried it before. I think it can be done. Probably. Nice of you. We do have some interesting capabilities, you know? What are you afraid of? La looked down at the floor for a moment. When she snapped her head up again, there was something akin of anger in her eyes. No way! Okay, never mind. Go away from me. She turned heel and stormed out of the kitchen. My. So I'd made her mad, huh? For a long time after that, the three of us quietly waited for the passage of time. I sat on the stool in the kitchen and watched La and Mar. La was reading a book. Mar was sitting a little apart from La and patiently waiting for nightfall. La, Mar, what the hell is all these letters? But this odd arrangement didn't go on for long. Soon enough, Mar turned to La and hesitantly broke the silence. If I may inquire, what book are you reading there? Psyche's Gatekeeper by Annalie. Pardon me? I couldn't help but suppress a smile at this. For such a haughty individual, Mar suddenly had no idea what he was, or what wasn't, talking about. Then again, it was surprising that La could even know of, let alone read, this particular book. Psyche's Gatekeeper, a book written by Annalie. Oh, alright. Of course. Pray tell, what kind of book is... Oh, dear me, 1,000 apologies. I had no intention of being a bother to you. La just smiled at this. No problem. Happy you asked. Shall I go on? And Marmar flushed... Okay, never mind. And Marmar blushed furiously in response. Not that I could really blame him. La was really cute when she smiled. Creepy. And then I will leave this episode here. So, if you want to know the next part and you want to know more, just simply wave your wall like a saucer and hit the like button and subscribe button to watch out the next part that I will be reading in after this. So, until then, this is Natnarf signing off.
comparison. Once you're on that